Hi, this is Jacob with MarketingPlayBook.co, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about the pitfalls of online marketing and overcoming failures. So we're taking a little bit of a break from just talking about platforms. That's what we've been doing for pretty much the previous 19 episodes, have been going over AdWords and Bing and Facebook and other strategies. But I want to take a break from that and just kind of shoot the breeze. This is what I like to do more of, and that's just kind of talk in general terms about online marketing. And I thought pitfalls of online marketing and overcoming failures would make for a pretty good show, just because our focus is on small businesses, especially small businesses in the service-based sector. And with that, time and time again, I run into either clients that I have or people that I consult on with who have ran into issues over the years, especially when they're trying to get something going. So I'll cover some of the major things that I've seen a lot of people issues that they've had. And we did get a couple of questions sent in. So again, this is Jacob Erdy with MarketingPlayBook.co, where we help to teach small businesses how to increase their sales online through digital marketing. And our show notes page, it's going to be really, really light show notes for today, just because I am winging it. So I just threw something together real quick and put it up there. But that's going to be at marketingplaybook.co/episode 20. That's the number 20. So marketingplaybook.co/episode 20. You can go ahead and tweet us live too right now if you'd like, and that's going to be Jacob at MKTG. Oh, I'm sorry. You can tweet us live at MKTG Playbook. So that's going to be on Twitter, MKTG Playbook, and it'll be right down over there too in our footer section that we have. Otherwise, you feel free and shoot me an email if you'd like. It's going to be Jacob at marketingplaybook.co, and our website, of course, is going to be marketingplaybook.co as well. So we also do have a private Facebook page, private Facebook group, I should say. So feel free and consider joining that. It's currently free. Anybody who joins now will get it for free, and it'll stay free for you. Eventually, at some point in time, I'm going to turn it into a paid private side forum for small businesses to get individualized help in a more private setting without making it known to the world. Otherwise, we do have a Facebook group too. Feel free to join that, and definitely sign up for our newsletter. So we do live hangouts every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And during these live hangouts, we cover a variety of topics, and the topics we cover kind of depend upon you, the listener, right? So if you have any particular issues that you're running into, we're happy to address them and talk about them. I know I'm going to pronounce this name wrong, but Ashok Vaswani, sorry there for butchering your name, wanted to know more about SEO in general, and if the Yoast SEO plugin was working and doing SEO for authority-based sites, as well as keyword research, which we've covered a bit already. So if you're listening, you can always dive into, we have a keyword research under the AdWords search guide that we did that talks about keyword research, but that was more for PPC related campaigns. So I'm going to talk about it more, just SEO in general, talk about the pros and cons of Yoast, which I like Yoast. I use Yoast. I don't use all the features within Yoast, but it's a good platform. It's a good program to use for SEO purposes. I like it better than the all-in-one SEO myself. So it's just, there's caveats to everything out there. So we'll talk more about SEO in an upcoming episode, and that'll be more for local SEO, not necessarily national SEO or worldwide or countrywide, but I'll talk about it more on the local level. So yeah, today we're going to be talking again about the pitfalls of online marketing. So let's go ahead and dive in. If you have any questions, feel free and tweet at us. And let me make sure that I got Twitter up and going, and I do. And so we are good. We did have a question that came in regarding the topic for today, and it was from an individual, and it was how to decide where to put your money when starting out with marketing. And then their second point was, what if you failed everywhere? So failing everywhere, we're going to talk more about that, and hopefully you'll be able to relate to this show a little bit. And as far as to answer that first question is how to decide where to put your money when starting out with marketing. And that can be a really, really hard one. Generally, for service-based companies and local-based companies, I always recommend you just start on PPC. PPC is one of the easiest ways of going. You're unlike Facebook, you're kind of throwing a big blanket out there, and you're targeting people who are uninterested in your products or services per se. So it's not it's interruption based advertising is what it is. That's what I refer to it as, because they're not looking for a plumber, they're not looking for carpet cleaning, they're not looking for whatever it is, product or service that you have. They're there to socialize. Now, it's not to say you won't convert, but you have a far higher chance of just targeting somebody on PPC who's searches for emergency plumber. Well, guess what? They need a plumber, and they need them now. So chances are the first person who answers the phone is going to get their business, right? So that's a far better way of actually starting out. So generally, I recommend PPC via AdWords or Bing Ads. Bing Ads can be fantastic, especially it can have upwards. I mean, it used to have 30% cheaper in clicks. Now it's about 20% clicker, maybe not even cheaper CPC wise, cost per click wise. But that's starting to, more and more people are starting to go on Bing again from an advertising point of view. So the competition is starting to heat up, but the market on Bing is fantastic. So you have a lot of older individuals who, when they first get a computer, they have Internet Explorer, or now it's called Microsoft Edge, installed on their system. It's the only browser they use, and the default homepage is, guess what? Bing, right? So what search engine are they using? Bing. Now, anybody else who's a little bit more tech savvy, maybe, and may know about more technologies, will go out and they'll install maybe Chrome or Firefox, and chances are they'll probably change the homepage to Google or make Google the default search engine. But for those who don't do it, they tend to be older. And those individuals tend to have a higher net worth and tend to spend a little bit more. So it's just a gold mine as far as being able to get things working there, especially in the service-based industry. E-commerce could be a little bit different. But so yeah, PPC is where I recommend you start out with any type of online marketing that you're doing, and then branch out via remarketing into AdWords display, into the Facebook display via remarketing / retargeting, which I've covered before a little bit in the past. And so to the second point, what if you failed everywhere? And chances are, if you failed everywhere, there's a lot to it. So feel free and reach out via the Facebook, our private page, and our private group, and talk about your woes of what worked and what didn't work for you, and we'd be happy to offer some insights. But today, this should be very, very relevant to you, and so as a small business owner, you have to put out fires all the time, right? So you're very, very limited on the time that you have to spend on your marketing, which kind of causes it to take a back seat for many individuals. And I know, as a small business owner myself, I've ran multiple small businesses, and I know that you make this great big plan and strategy for marketing, and then you just don't have the time to implement everything. So you might end up trying to pawn it off on an employee or something along those lines, and it usually doesn't work out well. So and there's nothing wrong, especially if you're just getting started, to hire a consultant. I do recommend consultants all the time out to people, and a good consultant is going to be able to help you prioritize your marketing efforts. So they'll probably tell you, especially if you're in the service-based industry, yeah, let's just start on doing AdWords search first, and then maybe build up a social profile for branding purposes on Facebook or something along those lines. But they'll take the time to understand your needs and your customer needs. And so getting a consultant there for the initial plan is really, really helpful. But I found even through my own consulting work that I've done with individuals, that once I recommend something, it never even gets implemented. So there might be a lack of money, there might be a lack of quite a bit, which the consultant needs to understand, like, what is your budget? If your budget's only $500 a month, there's not really a whole lot that a consultant is going to do for you. They're not going to be able to provide a lot of value for you because you have such a limited budget. So if that's the case, I just recommend PPC, follow our guides, join our Facebook page. We're happy to help you out for free, 100%. And so feel free and contact me at jacob@MarketingPlaybook.co too if you just have a quick question regarding something that you're doing, or better yet, just join the private Facebook group. We're happy to help you out. So the major pitfalls, so biting off more than you can chew. So I've kind of already alluded to this. You have very, very limited time during the day. And what happens is you write down this plan of, okay, I'm going to do this on Bing, I'm going to do this on AdWords, this on Facebook, this on Twitter, this on Instagram, I'm going to advertise on Google Display, I'm going to do all these press releases on this and that and this and that. And so you have this grandiose type plan, but then you're kind of frozen from taking action because it's so much, right? So what you need to do is you really need to just focus on one part and one aspect of that marketing, and that might be PPC. If you're a service-based industry, that's where you should start. So by focusing on just one platform, what you're able to do is you're able to master that platform. You're able to understand the nuances, because every advertising platform out there has its own nuances, its own features that are unique to that platform, and you'll have a better understanding of what works there. And once you get something working there and you build out a successful sales funnel, you build out a process for capturing your leads, you build out a process for tracking and everything like that, just on that one platform, then you're able to expand out to other platforms a lot easier because you already have a footing, you're already making money, and that's really, really important. So rather, there's nothing wrong with building up that big game plan for down the future, but then take one segment of that, break it off, and then build a daily to-do list of what you need to do and accomplish that, and just focus on that. So leave everything else behind and just focus on that one platform so you can fully learn and understand that platform. And from there, you're just going to have to be able to keep testing. So it's common for many small businesses when they first start marketing online to think about advertising, or that advertising should work for you. Like, okay, I'm on AdWords, I built a PPC ad for, let's say, carpet cleaning, and I should be making money. Well, it really doesn't work that way. So even, I've been in the industry for many, many years now, and, I've spent millions of dollars online, and in order to become profitable, pretty much on all campaigns, I have to tweak them. I have to tweak, I have to test, I have to write new PPC ads, I have to add negative keywords in, I have to get new image ads in there, I have to write a new ad copy on the landing page. So there's a lot to it. And that's why if you're trying to do everything at once, that's why it gets really, really complicated really, really fast, because you're doing all this stuff and nothing's working for you because you haven't really focused in on what does work first. And you have to nail down that sales process and that sales funnel and first find out what is working before you start expanding out. And that's kind of why I see a lot of people fails, because they bite off way too much, and then they think that, oh, I should be successful. I launched this campaign. Why am I not making any money off of it? Why am I not generating leads? And because your focus is all over the place, you really can't buckle down on that one platform and kind of see where you can tweak it. And it's a lot harder to keep track of what you're doing too. So if you make changes to your Facebook ad copy, then you make changes to your PPC ad copy, then your landing page copy for all these other campaigns, you're not going to remember what you did. And so it's a lot harder to keep track of when it comes to note taking. So definitely focus in on one campaign, focus in on one platform, and tweak it to the best of your ability to try to get it going. And on that point, you'll have to spend money to make money. In most cases, this is going to be true, where you're going to need to actually spend money. Let's say you're doing AdWords PPC. Well, you're going to have to probably spend quite a bit of money before you have a profitable campaign. And it takes a while. So you might go in there thinking, okay, I'm just going to spend $10 a day. Well, in your particular niche, in your particular industry, that $10 a day might equal actually one click. So you can't really optimize off of just one click. Or you might be like, well, I'm gonna set my budget at $20 a day, and I'm gonna set my CPC, your cost per click, at 31 cents. and see if there's anything that happens. And that's usually what people end up doing, is they end up sitting back and seeing if anything happens, and then they see that they're in position 5 or 6 or 7, and that they get no volume, and the quality scores are horrific because they're not getting a high click-through rate, which really helps with your quality score. So generally, what I'd rather see you do is, I'd rather you even if you could get that click for, let's say, $3, I'd rather see you spend $6 on that click, and spend maybe $60 a day or $50 a day, whatever it is, and bid really high, so you get that number 1 position and number 2 position. So you actually get more of the true understanding that that keyword has this much volume out there that's possible for you. And those are all important metrics to really understand. And if you're focusing on many platforms, it's really hard. It's really hard to focus in on the metrics for that one specific ad platform, and kind of check for things like, oh, am I getting the most volume, which AdWords shows you via the search impression share. So you can see, okay, I'm getting 90% of the volume when I bid at $6 for this particular keyword. It has a total of 200 searches a month. Okay, there's 200 searches a month in my area going on for this. So you're able to gain a lot more knowledge and kind of go far more in depth on that one platform, and especially when you're bidding high. So there's nothing wrong with bidding high. Just make sure you have your daily max budget set to whatever you're comfortable with losing. So if you're only comfortable with losing $600 a month, that's roughly $20 a day. Yes, that's not a lot, but over the course of time, you're going to be able to kind of see what works and what doesn't work. And as you start making some of your investment back, you might be able to up that to $40 a day, then $60. So oftentimes, individuals, when you have a sale, even if you're not profitable, that sale still helps cover a lot of the expenses for advertising. That's really the way you need to look at it. And as you start recouping, and the ROI goes from minus 90% to minus 50%, you're able to keep up in those daily budgets to get more and more of the clicks. And over the course of time, if your quality score is really good, because you're focusing on one platform, you're focusing on ads and click-through rate and the user experience, then your CPCs will start going down. You'll be cheaper than all the other competitors out there as far as what you're paying per click. You'll get a better ad position. And so those are all kind of nuances that most people aren't able to do if they're focusing on a lot of different platforms. So first, focus on one, zero in on it. And another important aspect is taking ownership of your sales process. And this comes back to something I was alluding to before, of you pawning off your marketing efforts to an employee. There's nothing wrong with doing that if that's their sole job or sole responsibility, and they're able to learn in that field. However, for a lot of companies, especially if you consider when you first started your business, right? Who was responsible for 100% of the sales? You were. That's why you're successful now, is because you know how hard it is to get those sales, and the customer service that you have to provide, and what works and what doesn't work, right? And so it's up to you to make sure that you're taking ownership of the sales process and building out that sales funnel, and thinking about, well, how else can I add value here? Or, where can I put an upsell in? If somebody's buying this, what else accompanies it? And these are things that a lot of employees aren't necessarily going to be thinking about. So it's really up to you to ensure that process is in place, and really for you to take ownership. It's different if you're outsourcing it. So if you're outsourcing it to, let's say, a consultant of some kind, but generally when you do that, you are going to have to pay a lot more for it. So most campaigns that I've managed are in the several $1,000 spend a month, and anything underneath that, you really can't spend any time on it, just because of the amount of time it takes to tweak and get something going. So which is why I started MarketingPlayBook.co, is to help other small businesses like you out, right? So next up, overcoming failure. So here's a quote that's slightly modified to kind of fit me, and it's: success is 70% failure, but for me, it's more like 90%. The secret is to fail quickly and learn from your mistakes. So this kind of sums up online marketing as a whole. So 9 out of 10 campaigns that you launch are going to fail. That's right, 9 out of 10. And people are really taken back by that. They're like, wow, 9 out of 10, and you call yourself an expert? Well, yeah, because once that campaign is working, it's working for years generally, and it more than recoups any other ad spend that you have. And so it's not to say that I have to relaunch a campaign completely, but generally I'll have to make 9 major tweaks to that campaign itself. It might be ad copy, it might be keywords, it might be the sales copy on the landing page, it might be a new design, adding in a lot more negative keywords, taking a completely different angle, telling a different story. So there's a lot to it to get to success, and you only know what's working by testing. So you start to make slow tweaks over time, and you see, okay, well, based upon what I've spent this week, my ROI is, let's say, negative 90%. Well, if by the next week you're at negative 70%, a lot of people aren't looking at the ROI week over week. So they're thinking, oh, I'm still losing money, I'm going to stop. Well, you went from minus 90% to minus 70%. That's pretty good. When you're able to cut down, and clearly you would have had sales in there then. If you're minus 90%, you sold something, and the next week you're minus 70%. Well, you're heading in the right direction. So being able to track your progress and measure your success is really, really important. And I generally do this by week over week ROI. That's generally how I score the overall campaign. So, and that's really good progress, minus 90% to minus 70%. That's fairly normal from a lot of the campaigns that I run and that I manage. And so the next week it might be minus 60, then minus 50, then minus 40. And before long, you'll start getting to that 10% ROI, 20%, 30%, 40%. You might peak out there. Just really depends upon your products and services that you're offering, the lifetime value of the customer, and all that stuff. But, in order to know that and know what your ROI is, you're really going to have to understand and be able to track what that value is for the customer. So if you're just generating phone call leads, you're going to need to know your numbers. So you're going to need to know that 1 in 5 phone calls leads to a sale. Okay, well, that means you have a 20% closing rate for every cold call that comes in, or warm call, however you want to call it. So for every call that comes in, you're landing 20% of sales. Well, what can you do there to possibly tweak that and make that higher? And is a new sales process for answering the phone? Is it taking more time to understand the customer and relate to the customer? So these are all things that you can kind of focus in on and try to improve. Is it the landing page? Are you having a lot of keywords that just aren't relevant to your products or services that are out there? So understanding your numbers is vital to overcoming the failures and optimizing for your campaign, as well as building out that sales funnel. But being able to having those type of things in place and knowing your numbers, you're going to be able to accurately measure your ROI, and then you're going to be able to work towards getting to that positive ROI over time. So it won't be right away, but over the course of time, you'll definitely get there. So you can also go out and get help. So there's nothing wrong with getting help, and there's we live in a digital world now, and we have places like Meetup.com, right? So there, chances are, if you live in a decent sized city or a fairly big city, there's probably a marketing group out there of somebody who is very proficient in the platform that you're going, and you can go to these live meetups that are in person around town and actually speak to experts who are generally pretty happy to help you out. So I go to meetups all the time. I've spoken at meetups. I love meetups, and I love marketing in general, so that's why I go to them. And yeah, I'm able to help and answer some people's questions here and there, which is a lot of fun for me, and rewarding. So I do it. So definitely take advantage of that. And there's a plethora of online solutions and forums out there. MarketingPlayBook.co, for instance. We have our private Facebook group, we have our newsletter, we have our marketing guides, we have our hangouts every week. You can ask your questions. So there's dozens of platforms out there that specialize in whatever ad platform you're working on, there is somebody out there who's writing guides on it, who's telling you how to optimize for free, who is walking you through sales funnels, who is walking you through everything that can be walked through. So definitely take advantage of the just enormous amount of free information that's out there to help you out. So that's going to be pretty much it for today. I told you it's going to be a pretty quick one and short one. We're going to go ahead and check Twitter real quick to make sure and see if there's anything that has come in. Any questions, feel free. I'll give you all a second. Go ahead and tweet at us at MKTGPlaybook, and that's going to be via Twitter. So feel free to reach out if you have any tweets for today or any questions on today. And the kind of just to sum it up while we wait to see if there's anything that comes in or any questions that people have, to sum it up, really what you're doing is you're focusing. You build your mass marketing plan. You're focusing on one thing. It's going to fail, and that's okay. And you're just going to tweak it and tweak it and tweak it and build up that sales funnel and focus in on the metrics on that particular ad platform. Fully understand that ad platform, and from there you're going to be able to optimize and get into profitability. And really that's what you need to do to be successful online. You'll have to find out what works and what doesn't work, and what targeting methods work and what doesn't work. And you only know by testing. You only know by spending money, and by spending enough money to be able to optimize and kind of get the full picture of what's going on. So we had nothing that's come in. We are good to go. So that's going to end it for today. I hope it helps. Next week we might just tackle SEO. I don't know. I'll decide. I do send out notifications on Monday via newsletter of what the topic will be for that week. I haven't quite decided just yet. I like to wing it. I like the freedom of it. So I'll probably wing it for next week, and we'll just talk about whatever it is I kind of want to. That's the purpose of the show, right? So that's it. Take care, and I hope it helps.